Hello, Bucks fans. Welcome back to Real Bucks Talk. I know it's been a minute, and we are getting closer and closer to the start of football season. And very exciting, as you see Greg Allman's tweet there. We are literally under 2 weeks away from Bucks rookies reporting for training camp first practice July 29th. So we're only a few weeks out from that, and the season just starts off right after that. I mean, everything gets more intense. Preseason games start to begin, and the Buccaneers start to finalize their roster for the 2026 season. Believe it or not, it's crazy. It felt like we were just at the end of the 2025 season, where coming off a very disappointing year if you're a Buccaneers fan. And I want to start getting into positions, and we're going to start off with the quarterback position and Baker Mayfield, who has been in the news recently with him being on the new season of Quarterback, featuring him and other quarterbacks on the Netflix series. Be sure to check that out if you haven't. It's really just a cool insight into who Baker is and just his overall toughness, goes about the struggles of last season. And we're going to get into that and just talk about, what can this team do to kind of recapture that magic they had in 2024 from an offensive perspective, and can they find ways to make it even better and become more efficient? It's going to be tough because you lost Mike Evans, who left for San Francisco. But when you look at Baker Mayfield and his stats, you look at last year's numbers, um, you know, there was significant drop-offs in touchdown production, yards per pass, which you see here, going from 41 to 26 touchdowns. He did decline in interceptions, 16 to 11, which was good. He actually had a better QBR at 61.3 versus 58.4. Quarterback rating, though, did dive down significantly. Still pretty high in sacks per season, 40 in 2023 and 2024, was down last year, believe it or not, to 36. So there's just some things that I think hopefully Zach Robinson, the new offensive coordinator, can bring back onto the table. And we're going to get to that here in a little bit, but just kind of want to talk about Baker Mayfield. He's entering a contract year, so it's, a huge season, not only for him, Todd Bowles, this offense, the whole team, really. And how can what can Baker do, and how can Zach Robinson complement him to make him even more efficient? Because really, when you look at it, what was the difference between 24 and 25? It was just the overall efficiency the Buccaneers offense played with, the ability to score early in games, find ways to get Mayfield going at a more consistent rate. And they utilized a lot more of the quick passing game, the dump offs to the running backs, to the tight ends, the use of play action, the use of pre snap motion was a big part of it. And getting the ball out of Baker Mayfield's hands within timing and with quick, decisive patterns. That was the way for Baker. And you can see, like, he was very efficient, 71% completion, the highest of his career, 4,500 yards, 41 touchdowns. Yes, the interceptions were up there with 16, but I have a feeling if this offense as a group and Zach Robinson can utilize more pre-snap motion, more post-snap motion, which we're going to see from him, and that's what he's shown he can do with the Atlanta Falcons the last two seasons. If he brings that over here to Tampa, which I think he will, and hopefully incorporate some more play action, I'm hoping, even though that hasn't really been a big thing for Zach Robinson and his offense, I'm hoping we see that incorporated for Baker, and mainly the more passing usage for the running backs. And I think that's why they brought in Kenny Gainwell. You re-signed Kate Otten. So I'm hoping to see more concepts and more things drawn up for those two aspects in the passing game to complement your strong receiver room. But those are things that I would like to see improve. And then you go over here, just looking at the overview on NFL Pro. You look at the 2 seasons there. You can see the numbers and see the regression. Just look at the completion percentage over expected, plus 2.2% in 24, dropped down to negative 1.6. Um, and you look at the EPA per play, pass was plus 87.4, which is crazy to think about. He was also 0.13 in EPA per drop back, had less time to throw in 24. And I think some of that is, again, design. So those design routes, the design pass plays to get the ball out of Baker's hand. It's definitely, I think, something that we want to see. Uh, Hopefully in 2026. And then when you click over to the advanced stats and just look at the deep ball percentage. So obviously Josh Grizzard was trying to push the ball even further downfield. It was a little less than 24. We talked about the time to throw. Look at the quarterback pressure percentage. And this makes sense because the offensive line was banged up. It was less than 24. um, Teams blitz a lot. You look at the play action percentage, 20.9 versus 20.5. So not a huge difference, but this is where I think does make a difference here. You look at the average separation, 3.5 versus 3.3. You look at the tight window percentage, 17.5% versus 10.9%. So hopefully with Zach Robinson's ability to create plays and create space for his receivers, hopefully we see that number decrease in 2026 where guys have more room to operate, making the throws easier for Baker Mayfield. And we can find a way for Baker to just be more decisive in the pocket, take less hits. And this is what they're going to have to do with Baker. You got to find ways to help him improve that decision making. It's all about footwork and making sure that he stays out of taking unnecessary hits, which was a big discussion in the Netflix series Quarterback. So again, be sure to watch that, guys. It's really cool to see him being featured on there. A lot of good details, but at the same time, he's got to be better in overall decision making, getting the ball out of his hands quicker, and being smart and not forcing things that are not there. It's okay to punt the ball and keep that balance. But that also goes into like this team overall has to be better complementary football. Defense is supposed to be better this year. So hopefully we see that where the Bucks offense doesn't feel it has to be perfect on every drive. And Baker talked about that as well in the show. So those are some things, and I'm hoping that will alleviate the issues to try to force things and not take what's being given by the defense instead of trying to just make that big play all the time. So hopefully we see those interception numbers stay to a minimum and he can have less sacks as a result as well. But let's get into it. I want to show just some things on film that I think they can hopefully get back to under Zach Robinson, and this can maximize the efficiency of the Bucks offense, especially in the passing game. All right, guys. So we're gonna let it play here, and you can see Baker Mayfield. And I'm not gonna go over these plays too much, but just watch it play and just these are some just high throws that Baker had to make, and just look at the pinpoint of this play right here. Look at this pass and how he's able, you can see like he's got incredible arm talent, the ability to make all the throws, and that's a perfect pass. And these are the kind of things like we don't want to try to make Baker do every time, but he can also do it if it's necessary. And, as we continue on, just showing some plays that he can make. Again, being patient within the pocket, trying to make things happen, buying more time, and gets all the way back to Bucky Irving here as he beats his man downfield, ends up being a touchdown. So these are, we're just going to see like all the big plays that they were able to make. Look at the just pinpoint throws by Baker Mayfield. Here's another one, laser, gets it in there for a touchdown. So these are just showing like the concepts that were often run. You can see like all these touchdowns are just big plays being made by Baker, being able to create time here, firing it in there to Sterling Shepard. Again, we'll continue on. Here's a big one against the San Francisco 49ers. Just huge throw down the field. But I want to see the Buccaneers get to more of this and utilization of the tight ends in the passing game, utilization of play action. You can see here in 12 personnel, utilizing the play action pass, finding a wide open Kate Otten. These are things that we want to see moving forward. Again, understanding where you want to go, utilizing your running backs, using pre snap motion, and getting the tight ends involved in the passing game is something that you want to look for, especially under Zach Robinson. And hopefully this comes to fruition. But just keeping things efficient, easy decision making for Baker Mayfield, helping your quarterback out to make good throws and helping him be just higher efficient plays, more high percentage throws and get things rolling. Here's again play action. You get the right concept delivered in there. Here's another one against San Francisco, play action, utilizing the tight end coming across, the play action run fakes, and just getting more east and west high percentage throws that you can utilize. And here was one of the better ones against Detroit. But again, you can see like how tight window. Again, just have to be perfect with that accuracy, but still a great ball here. And Baker was again one of the best at play action passing. He has been over the last 2 years, and that needs to continue. And these are the types of plays that I want to see more of. Definitely to keep Baker in rhythm is more of the pre-designed, predetermined throws where again you know where you're going. It's all about timing and rhythm. You keep that ball out in front and out of Baker's hands and just finding completions. I think that's what they have to get back to. Even this play, like just pre-designed, pre-snap motion receiver option plays, getting out in space, creating and just firing to a window. And yes, it helps that Godwin's able to make that first guy miss, but this is what you can do. Just give your playmakers the ball and don't make things harder than they need to be. Here's another one. Just quick little out route to Kate Otten and pick up, the easy 6 yards that you want or 5 yards right there. Those plays just set you up in better situations instead of getting into second and long, third and long, like the Bucs were last year. Like just little plays like this, get the ball out to your running back in space and let him get yards and get close to a first down. Utilizing Godwin as a motion man, hitting the flats, picking up a first down right there. So just little plays like that. I think I want to see more of this play here, having a receiver in the backfield, running a fake here, having this guy go this way. You set up a cargo screen out here with your two bottom receivers, and you're able to create something here very quickly and get a first down on that play. And little screen passes here to Bucky Irving, finding that space, knowing where to operate, and he almost takes this to the house. So it's just little things like that I think can be hopefully increased, especially with the addition of Kenneth Gainwell. I think that's going to go into it a lot. And it'll be interesting to see how the Buccaneers just utilize what they have, especially without Mike Evans this year, moving forward. And now you have Godwin, you have Abuka, Jalen McMillan, Tez Johnson. They're healthy. You got an offensive line ready to go. And you got the running backs that can do different things and complement each other well. Now, can Baker take this offense to that next step? Him and Zach Robinson find that efficiency that was in 2024? And can they even make it go further and take it another step? And hopefully that leads to better production for Baker, better production for the offense, and ultimately leading this team to more wins than 8 that the team had last year. So let us know what you guys think of that video. It was a kind of loaded video there, a lot to discuss. Talked about, Baker Mayfield and his last couple of seasons here with the Bucs, entering a huge year, looking for that next contract, and hopefully stays here in Tampa. But want to hear what you guys think. How can this Buccaneers offense get back to that efficiency that we saw in 2024? Want to know what you guys think. And with that said, until the next one.